guys, I hope you're well. I'm just about to do a demo of the Supa-J. Okay, this one here is a prototype, exactly the same circuit that is going up for sale. This will be the version that will be for sale. Obviously the circuits aren't in there yet, that's why I'm not doing the demo with it, but this is what they'll be. I'll show you a little bit about that in a second. So what is the Supa-J? It's a vintage inspired silicon 3 transistor fuzz based on my own Jen Fuzz that I've had for a few years. That side of things, there's a switch there which switched between the Supa-J and a Marshall Supa Fuzz, which I'll talk about in a second. Now the original is super ice picky trebly. Okay, so I did an easily reversible mod to this just to pull that down just a touch, just to adjust the treble, not really to change too much of the character of the actual fuzz. I didn't do any major changes, just changed one capacitor. Well, I added a capacitor in, actually, didn't change one. So just to kind of make it more friendly to modern, brighter amps. Okay, and that's then what I've modeled this on. Okay. So it has two modes, Supa-J here, and then on this side it's the Marshall Supa Fuzz. So what's the Supa-J? It's a mid-focused kind of think of Queens of the Stone Age or Spiders from Mars era, Mick Ronson, Bowie kind of thing. You know, it's got that honky nose, that cocked wah kind of thing. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but a lot of people, you know, it's part of your arsenal. So there we go. Now, fair warning that there are some settings on here with the Supa-J that might be slightly troublesome. It's not the quietest of circuit. I'll show you later the fact I've managed to get this one quieter than the original, but the mids setting, if you have it on Supa-J with the mids setting on plus, you will probably find it starts to howl in a not particularly musical way when you've got the gain right up. Okay, if you pull the gain down, it's more controllable. The reason there's all that range on the gain is when you're using the Marshall Supa Fuzz side, it needs it to kind of do the Supa Fuzz thing. Okay, so yeah, that's the only drawback really. So don't, you know, the plus in Supa-J plus mids probably don't go past 3 o'clock. Well, you can go past 3 o'clock, but you might find that it does weird oscillations and noises past there. That's that. The difference between the Supa-J and the Marshall Supa Fuzz really is the Supa-J has some diodes that come in, some germanium diodes, and the Marshall Supa Fuzz doesn't. Now usually when you have a diode lift, it increases the volume massively. If you've you know, had anything with a diode, you know, a switch in it, you'll know what I mean. I've managed to mitigate that, so when you swap between Marshall Supa Fuzz and Supa-J, the volumes stay pretty much the same. So it's the Supa-J side is kind of, there's not a lot of bass. There's enough, but there's not a lot. Like I say, it's got that honk and what have you, whereas the Marshall Supa Fuzz has more bottom end, but it's that classic smooth Supa Fuzz, still keeping some of the mid focus, a little bit extra of that honk. It hasn't got a gated decay, that crumbly decay that a lot of Marshall Supa Fuzzes have. I will be part of the demo will include me comparing it to the gold standard for Super Fuzz and for new build Super Fuzz as well. I say new build, they've all got, this has got NOS parts in it. R2R electric, absolutely incredible piece of kit. So if you're a Super Fuzz nut, this has got a bias on it as well. I've set the bias to noon, which is kind of optimal bias. It's the 4.5 volts bias. Yeah, so this Super Fuzz doesn't have that kind of gated spitty delay that some Super Fuzzes and Mark II tone benders do have. There's only so many things I can do to mash into this circuit without it really affecting the tone of both circuits. So, but it's fine. It's a lovely decay, and it's very quiet. And it's really quite musical. Still retains some bite and edge of note, so it's well, you'll hear it in the demo. Okay, the mids button, I've explained a little bit about that earlier on. Basically, to the minor side, to the right side, it thins out the low mids, and to the left it adds more low mids. As I've said, it works beautifully in the Marshall Supa Fuzz side. If you have the Marshall Supa Fuzz side on and you put it in the minor side, you will lose some sustain. It loses a bit of gain, so you might want to sort of crank the gain up a little bit more, but it definitely gives that kind of 60s psych rock garage kind of clankiness, which I absolutely love, without it sounding kind of junky and thin. It just sounds really clanky. So it definitely, if kind of 60s psych rock is something that you're digging, that's a great setting. However, that way round, so Supa-J and the plus mids, you'll probably get some extra noise, a bit of hum, and maybe some oscillation at a higher gain setting. So just, be wary of that. Optimal settings are with the toggles in the same direction. They are the kind of ones that match the original versions as close as I possibly could. So thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, drop them down in the comments. And remember, keep it fuzzy.